that hot mess that they air in the mornings called The View had to issue not one, not two, not three, but 4 corrections, legal corrections. Not to mention what they did at that debate, where once again, they tried to fact check only one side, and then when their fact checks got fact checked, they cowered. They cowered in fear. I mean, this is a pattern with them.
But look, what did it take for us to get to the point of an apology? We had to threaten a lawsuit, Jesse. And by the way, we're still entertaining it. We're talking to some of the best lawyers out there that are experts in this. And as you know, these things can be very complicated. There's a lot of facts and circumstances around it. But we're not going to let this go, because you should not be able to smear 5,000 high school and college kids and then just be able to walk away with it.
Whoopi Goldberg just appeared on live television at DevCon 1. No, it wasn't because of Joy Behar's newest fashion crime. After Charlie Kirk and Megyn Kelly delivered a verbal smackdown so savage that even Simon Cowell would have winced, Whoopi went from calm and collected to hide the furniture mode. What did they say that made her lose her sass? Buckle up, because this enormous outburst is more intense than a group chat after a celebrity split. Let's dive into the pandemonium you didn't see coming.
Charlie Kirk's the founder and CEO of Turning Point USA and the author of the new book, The College Scam. So, Charlie, do you accept the View's apology?
I mean, regardless of whether or not I accept it, the question is, do our students accept it? That's really what's at heart here. They went after our 5,000 students at our event there, of high school and college kids. And look, I get attacked all the time. People say false things. I'm a public figure. But when you go after 16 and 17-year-olds that travel from across the country, that then have to live for the rest of their life with a shadow over...
There she was, America's self-appointed oracle of all things, virtuous and detached, looking as if she had just read Yelp reviews of her own personality. Whoopi Goldberg, the queen of eye rolls and daytime drama, wasn't having a lyrical, subtle breakdown. No, this was more like watching a soap opera villain realize they'd been betrayed by their own stylist. And the masterminds behind this. Daytime meltdown? None other than Charlie Kirk and Megyn Kelly, the unlikely dream team of public takedowns.
They're disgusting. She's Anna Navarro in your wildest imagination. You could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success that Tucker Carlson has. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere, and Tucker is about to dominate in whatever space he goes.
Let's rewind and piece the puzzle together, because this disaster didn't just drop out of the sky. Whoopi, comfortably perched on her squeaky leather chair on The View, had been on an endless spree of verbal acrobatics gone sideways. Picture someone juggling flaming torches while blindfolded and giving a TED Talk on global history before their morning coffee.
The reason they felt they needed to do that, Jesse, is because if they told their audience the truth, that when gas is the most expensive it's been, flights are super expensive, that 5,000 kids decided to spend a weekend in summer traveling across the country to go hear from conservative speakers, maybe the audience of The View would think twice about all of their ideas. That's why they felt so compelled to try to smear our wonderful summit this last week.
That's basically the vibe. Every episode turned into a roulette wheel of hot takes, surprise rants, and opinion bombs exploding faster than her producers could hit the commercial break. At this point, The View no longer resembled a daytime panel show. It had become a fever, dream hosted in a college debate club run entirely by Facebook comment sections.
Welcome back. You know, in Monday's conversation about Turning Point USA, I put the young people at the conference in the same category as the protesters outside. And I don't like it when people make assumptions about me. And it's not any better when I make assumptions about other people, which I did. So, my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So,
the show's original goal of sparking thoughtful conversation has morphed into a competitive sport where subtlety is treated like a food allergy. And Whoopi? She's the undisputed coach, commentator, and part-time referee, blowing the whistle on her own arguments. She serves up hot plates of confidence with the conviction of someone who read half an article and built a worldview around it. It's not just messy. It's a choreographed circus broadcast 5 days a week for our collective confusion. Naturally, she caught the attention of America's full-time outrage specialists. Enter Charlie Kirk, Conservative firebrand, daily provocateur, and longtime critic of everything soaked in coastal elitism. With pinpoint accuracy, he zeroed in on Whoopi's latest broadcast brainwave and turned it into a multi-platform masterclass in absurdity. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't need coordination. He just torched the moment. But Kirk wasn't satisfied with lazy criticism. No, he turned his commentary into a performance of intellectual demolition. With the precision of a cable news ninja, he broke down Whoopi's on-screen antics until even the air particles were offended.
I mean, there was what do you call it? This Turning Point conference with all the smoke. What are they, smoking something down there? Or it's like, whatever. Anyway, they were out there. They were in the front of the conference with anti-Semitic slurs.
Whoa, the drama. Charlie Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, threatened to sue The View. And let me tell you, the nonsense that ensued is really something.
To him, this wasn't just another celebrity rambling nonsense. It was a crystal clear example of what happens when glittery entertainers play pretend as foreign policy experts. Kirk painted not just Whoopi, but the entire panel as the height of Hollywood delusion. Not slightly off track, not occasionally. Wrong, but orbiting somewhere beyond Pluto, sipping cosmic lattes in a zero-gravity salon of self-righteousness. In his eyes, the show no longer represented average Americans. It had become an echo chamber of elitist noise, wrapped in expensive scarves and basic talking points. Once he framed it that way, he didn't stop. He went full throttle, blasted content across every platform, and let the algorithm gods handle the rest. Whoopi didn't trend by accident. She was served cold. But the destruction wasn't finished. Enter Megyn Kelly. Not a commentator, but more of a media auditor. Armed. With a magnifying glass, designer heels, and a PhD in takedowns. If Charlie Kirk was the wrecking ball, Megyn was the paper cut you feel days later. She didn't just challenge Whoopi's statements. She unpacked them, sorted them, and laid them bare under bright lights for all to see. The glamour vanished instantly. And she got questions.
Asked him about that. They asked him about that moment. Watch this, SOT 36.
When the vice president was here, I asked her if she would have done something differently than your administration over the past 4 years. And because of all the successes that your administration had, I think her response was, there is not a thing that comes to mind. Now, that answer was weaponized against her. And there has been some reporting that you encouraged her.
Megyn Kelly handled the takedown like a detective. Calm, precise, and cutting. She didn't need to yell. Her quiet dissection of Whoopi's repeated public missteps said it all. While Charlie Kirk bulldozed, Megyn laid out the evidence, showing this wasn't a one-time slip, but a slow fall into irrelevance. Her tone hinted Whoopi wasn't just having a bad week. She'd been riding on past glory for too long. In today's world, legacy means little without relevance. And by the end, Whoopi's once untouchable image looked more like a media fixer-upper. Megyn didn't argue. She closed the case and walked off.
You think if a liberal came to speak at University of Kentucky, they'd give an open mic like I just did to a conservative and had a discussion like this?
I certainly hope they would.
No, they wouldn't. Because speech is not a left-wing value. That is why they have to deploy shock troops called Antifa to go after everywhere I go. When I go to University of California, Davis next week, there has to be 120 police officers because of the threats, the violent threats of liberals that want me dead, that want to disrupt our events. There are no right-wing hecklers that come to events like this. I think it's rather clear there's one side that is trying to do everything they can to shut one side up, and one side that's trying to open up the marketplace of ideas. And I think that's rather self-evident.
The result? A full-blown media car crash too loud for even cable TV to ignore. A glorious, blazing collision of egos, critiques, and cultural backlash that Whoopi clearly didn't see coming. The internet, in all its chaotic brilliance, responded with the restraint of kids in a candy store. Viral clips flooded timelines. Meme creators worked overtime to craft edits as tight as a DJ remix. Reaction videos didn't trickle. They surged in like a tidal wave. TikTok exploded with piano soundtracks, slow-mo zoom-ins, and the occasional laser eye effect. Nothing screams cultural unraveling like 4K drama with a sad violin track. But to understand the full fallout of this digital firestorm, you have to grasp the alternate universe that is The View. This isn't just a midday talk show. It's a fully ritualized performance. Part soap opera, part group therapy, with the volume cranked to 11 and nuance tied up in the corner. It's not a place where things are discussed. It's where they combust in theatrical flames of outrage. And towering above it all, like a caffeinated televangelist, is Whoopi, the thunderous anchor who built a career treating every opinion like divine scripture from the gods of daytime sanctimony.
Her disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right.
Just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant facts about how men can allegedly give birth or whatever they teach.
Here's the twist. Even icons stumble. Whoopi's once commanding presence now feels like a parody, and the backlash didn't just knock, it stormed in. This wasn't about one misstep. Charlie and Megyn brought receipts, exposing years of rants and emotional monologues that felt more like theater than truth. The takedown wasn't just criticism, it was a rebrand. Whoopi shifted from respected voice to out-of-touch aunt. And the internet watched every moment from the front row.
I don't want to say too much, but we're going to have a lot of fun at the Department of Education. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Can I tell you something? Like, I've had quite a few people contact me about that particular post. Like, I'm sure I have 1/100th of what you're getting, but people are contacting me about cabinet posts. I'm like, I got
look,
nothing.
I mean, I'm actually, after this conversation, heading to Mar-a-Lago for a week. And we have a lot to sift through, and if I could be helpful, I have asked. I want to be actively involved in all things education, as you can imagine.
It didn't help that The View has slowly turned into the live-action version of a group project where everyone thinks they're the smartest. The result? A lot of yelling, very little listening, and a cast that treats facts like decorative tablecloths. Nice if you use them, but totally optional. When your show becomes the go-to for people who want to feel informed without actually being informed, someone's going to call you out. This time, those people had massive followings, major media backing, and zero interest in letting Whoopi ride the coattails of her EGOT fame. What followed was pure art. Whoopi didn't clap back. She didn't throw shade. She just showed up. Like someone finally told her that being loud doesn't make you right. The fire was gone. The sass, subdued. It was like someone had surgically removed the sarcasm, leaving only everyday frustration and awkward silence. Even loyal fans noticed. The smug chuckles and power stares were replaced with long pauses, strained jokes, and the unmistakable air of someone who just Googled how to survive public humiliation.
Whoopi Goldberg was angry when Alyssa pointed out that Trump went to the funeral of Officer Diller.
Yes.
On Long Island, and Joe Biden went to a podcast. Look at Whoopi Goldberg's reaction.
Choose what you like there, but for Republicans, it was good imagery.
Really?
One day later, yes.
And I'm asking that because I was so offended because you know who showed up.
Yeah.
And he was, whether he was asked or not. This is a man who didn't care what happened to the officers on January 6th.
She promotes Joe Biden and Kamala Harris every day on that show. Trump wasn't supportive enough of the cops who were, yes, in danger on J 6th. How does that explain their behavior on a daily basis toward Harris, toward Biden, toward AOC, toward all of the left, including their own show, Sunny Hostin? The hypocrisy.
The public loves a fall from grace, especially when the fallen once seemed untouchable. Whoopi Goldberg, long treating The View like her personal TED Talk, without the facts, faced a brutal reckoning. Megyn Kelly didn't call her evil. She called her irrelevant, the harshest fate in media. With calm precision, Kelly exposed years of missteps, while Charlie Kirk hammered the point home. Whoopi's crown hadn't just slipped, it fell. Not from age or volume, but from laziness. The fire dimmed, the outrage became routine, and facts were optional. The View now feels like a tired group chat. Whoopi still shows up, but even she knows the laugh track isn't for her anymore. Whether she stages a comeback or not, one truth remains. Even daytime divas can fall, and this time, the blow came from both sides. The Goldberg mystique, it's leftovers after the party, and the guests are gone. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.